Hi, my name is Gao, and welcome to Dr. Gao's classroom. I'm a professional philosopher, and I love classical Chinese poetry. I have been teaching and translating classical Chinese philosophies for many years, and poetry for the last few years. I'd love to share my knowledge on these subjects with you. Your enjoyment is my command. Today, I'm going to continue my story about the Cen Shen and Feng Changqing. In my last two videos about Cen Shen, I talked about his life as well as the life story of the general Feng Changqing. I also translated several poems by Cen Shen about the lives and battles at the frontier, especially the set of 6 poems celebrating the victory led by General Feng Changqing, which presented a realistic picture of the brutality and horrors of war. In most of the poetry from the frontiers I read so far, poets often show the sympathy and compassion towards the suffering of soldiers and generals who fought at the frontier. But few showed any sympathy to the non-Chinese people, such as the Tibetans, the Huns, and the Mongolians, who died in the wars, except our great poet Du Fu. So today, I'm going to translate one poem by Du Fu, criticizing the unnecessary killing at the frontiers. But first, I'm going to talk about what happened to the two great generals Feng Changqing and Gao Xianzhi, whose death spelled the beginning of the ending of the great Tang Dynasty. Then I shall translate 3 poems by Cen Shen mourning the passing of Feng Changqing and Gao Xianzhi. In my next video, I'm going to introduce another poet who is also known for poetry from the frontier. His name is Gao Shi. Like Cen Shen, Gao Shi worked as a scholar official along the great general Gao Xianzhi at the frontier and experienced the war firsthand. His poems about frontier also painted a realistic picture of the impacts of war on generals and soldiers. So in my next video, I'm going to talk about Gao Shi's life and translate 2 or 3 of his poems about war and military lives. I would also talk a bit about the lives of the great general Gao Xianzhi and Ge Shuhan. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, or medical literature. If you like the content of these videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. So if you would like to read the original text, please contact me. Here's my email address. Now, let me continue my story about Cen Shen. From early 754 towards the end of 755, Cen Shen was the chief military staff for Feng Changqing. He participated in every military campaign led by Feng Changqing and achieved huge success as Feng Changqing was promoted again and again to become the governor defending the whole northwest frontier, replacing his mentor, the great general Gao Xianzhi. Cen Shen was also promoted along with his general, and he was very grateful that Feng Changqing gave him the opportunity to realize his political ambition. The two of them become very close. In less than 2 years' time, Cen Shen composed 6 sets of poems praising Feng Changqing's military prowess and celebrating his achievement. However, Cen Shen's ambition was crushed in December 755 AD. According to 旧唐书, or the old history of Tang Dynasty, on the 16th of December 755 AD, An Lushan, the then governor of 3 most important frontiers in the northwest, as shown by the stars in this map, rebelled at Fanyang, the place closest to the capital Chang'an indicated by the red circle. At the time, Feng Changqing happened to be at the capital by himself for a performance review. When the Emperor Li Longji summoned him, Feng Changqing requested to recruit generals and soldiers to fight An Lushan's rebel force. The emperor appointed Feng Changqing as the governor of Fanyang on the spot and ordered him to recruit soldiers around the eastern capital, Luoyang, and fight against the advancing forces of An Lushan. Within days, Feng Changqing recruited 60,000 soldiers and fought An Lushan at Bianzhou. However, his newly recruited soldiers had no battlefield experiences, while An Lushan's soldiers and generals were war veterans who had fought hundreds of battles. Not surprisingly, Feng Changqing was defeated, and he had to retreat to the eastern capital Luoyang. But soon he lost the eastern capital and retreated again to the last fortress, Tongguan, in front of the capital Chang'an, where his old mentor, Gao Xianzhi, was in charge. Feng Changqing's defeats were quickly reported to the emperor by the eunuch Bian Lingcheng, who was the inspector at Feng Changqing's troop. The emperor stripped all Feng Changqing's titles and ordered him to serve as a soldier under Gao Xianzhi, and ordered Gao Xianzhi to fight An Lushan at all costs. However, Gao Xianzhi and Feng Changqing knew that they should not fight An Lushan in the battlefield outside of the Tongguan fortress. They just need to defend Tongguan fortress to protect the capital Chang'an. An Lushan's force would have to retreat once they ran out of supply. As you can see from this picture, the red star indicates Tongguan fortress. It was built next to the Yellow River, and along the narrow path between the mountain ranges, a string of fortresses were built. Some of the paths were so narrow that only one person could pass at one time. The defense line were very strong. It was almost impossible for An Lushan's force to break through this defense line. However, the eunuch Bian Lingcheng told the emperor that Gao Xianzhi and Feng Changqing had embezzled all the supplies and were too coward to fight An Lushan. The emperor was furious with the two generals and ordered them to either commit suicide or be executed. Feng Changqing wrote a letter to the emperor explaining their strategy and then drank the poison given to him. Later that day, when Gao Xianzhi came back to his office after his daily inspection of the fortress, the eunuch Bian Lingcheng ordered his execution despite the pleas from the soldiers and generals defending the fortress. Once the two great generals were killed, there was no one who could fight against An Lushan. An Lushan's force soon take over the two capitals, and the emperor had to flee from the capital Chang'an and run to Sichuan. The rebel dragged for 8 years and completely bankrupted the empire. The Tang Empire never recovered from this disaster. Even before the An Lushan rebellion, the Tang Empire was already on its way down. Ever since Li Longji took the crown in 712 AD, he had been trying to outdo his grandfather Li Shimin in military achievement. As he grew older, he became more and more arrogant and raised countless wars against neighboring countries. And the scholars and generals also supported his expansionist international policy, as I mentioned in my second video about Dufu, because they could all benefit from these military campaigns. Only our empathetic poet Du Fu thought about the suffering of those non-Chinese who were slaughtered during these military campaigns. Here is one poem Du Fu composed lamenting the killings during these military campaigns. It is a poem from a set of 9 poems in the title of 前出塞九首, or the first 9 poems on marching to the frontier composed in 751 AD. Now, let me read the poem in Chinese first. 挽弓当挽强，用箭当用长。射人先射马，擒贼先擒王。杀人亦有限，列国自有疆。苟能致清零，岂在多杀伤。Now, let's look at the first 4 lines. 挽弓当挽强，用箭当用长。射人先射马，擒贼先擒王。挽 means draw, 弓 means bow, 当 means shoot, 挽 means draw again, 强 means strong, 用 means use, 箭 means arrow, 当 again means shoot, 用 means use, 长 means long, 射 means shoot, 人 means person, but here it refers to the enemy. 先 means first, 射 means shoot again, 马 means horse, 擒 means catch, 贼 means thief or bandit, but here it also refers to the enemy. 先 means first, 擒 means catch again, 王 means king. So the 4 lines read, to draw a bow, you should draw a strong one. To use an arrow, why not use a long one? To shoot the enemy, you should first shoot their horses. To catch the enemy, you first catch their king. 杀人亦有限，列国自有疆。苟能致清零，岂在多杀伤。杀 means kill, 人 means people, 亦 means also, 有 means have, 限 means limit, 列 means different, 国 means country, 治 means their own, 有 means have, 疆 means border, 苟 means if, 能 means can, 治 means prevent, 侵 means invasion, 零 means bullying. 岂 is a question mark and can be interpreted as why or how. 在 means to depend on. 岂在 here means how would it depend on something. Given the textual context, the question is not just how would the victory depend on killing, it is why would you still want to kill if you could prevent the invasion or bullying. So we translate it as why is it? 多 means so many, 杀 means kill, 伤 means mime. So the 4 lines read, just as countries have their borders, so that killing the enemy has its limit. If you can prevent the invasion and bullying, why is it you would kill and maim so many? I'm not sure how much Cen Shen sympathizes with Du Fu's view on this, but the 2 were close friends. My guess is that he probably did. When Cen Shen got the news of the downfall of his beloved general Feng Changqing in 755, he was still at the frontier. From the poems he composed at the time, we know that he was devastated and frightened. He did not know what he was supposed to do and how would his future hold. When he saw of a friend leaving the frontier, His sadness and stress were palpable. Here is what he wrote in his farewell poem. Let me read it in Chinese first. 相送泪沾衣，天涯独未归。将军出得醉，门客复何依？梦去湖山阔，疏庭笼燕西。园林杏皆尽，一为道柴飞。相送泪沾衣，天涯独未归。将军出得醉，门客复何依？相 means each other. Song means see somebody off. 相送 literally means seeing each other off. But from the textual context, Cen Shen was seeing off his friend, so we translate it as see you off. 泪 means tear. 沾 means stain. 衣 means clothes. 天 means sky. 涯 means shore. 天涯 means the end of the sky, but it reads better if we translate it as the end of earth. 独 means lonely. 未 means not, but here it means cannot. 归 means return. 将军 means general, referring to Feng Changqing. 出 means just. 得 means obtain. 罪 means punishment. So we translate it as to be taken into custody. 门 means gate. 客 means guest. 门客 is a term refers to consultants or assistants hired by a nobleman or an official. Here Cen Shen used the term to refer himself. 复 means again. 何 means how, but here it means who. 依 means depend on, but here it means to follow. So the 4 lines read, I see you off with tear-stained clothes. At the end of the earth, I am lonely and cannot return. The general has just been taken into custody. Who am I going to follow now? 梦去湖山阔，疏庭笼燕西。园林杏皆尽，一为道柴飞。梦 means dream. 去 means travel. 湖 means lake. 山 means mountain. 阔 means long distance. 疏 means letter. 庭 means stop. 陇 refers to the Long mountain range that run through the Shanxi, Gansu, and Ningxia provinces. Yan means geese. Here it is an abbreviation of Hongyan Chuanshu, meaning a letter carried by a goose. This is a story from 史记, or the record of history from the Han Dynasty. A diplomat named Shu Wu was sent to the Hun Empire by the Han Emperor. Shu Wu was detained by the Hun chieftain because he refused to serve him. The Hun chieftain lied to the Han Emperor, saying that Shu Wu had died. When another diplomat visited the Hun Empire many years later, Shu Wu managed to meet the diplomat, and they tricked the Hun chieftain that the Han Emperor knew that Shu Wu was still alive and wanted him back by saying that the emperor shot down a goose at his imperial garden, and there was a letter tied to the goose's feet telling the emperor that Shu Wu was alive. The Hun chieftain finally released Shu Wu after detaining him for 19 years. Here it just means that there was fear letter from the capital to the frontier. Xi means fever. 园林 means garden. 幸 means lucky. 接近 means near. 易 means one. 为 means act. 到 means arrive. 才 means wicker. 飞 means gate. So the 4 lines read, I dream of the long return over lakes and mountains. The letters had stopped, and there was fewer wild geese crossing the mountain lawn. We were lucky that your garden and my house were so near. With just one action, you could be at my wicker gate. As we can see from this poem, Cen Shen was crying about not just that he cannot go back to where his family was, that is, around the capital, but more about the general Feng Changqing because there was a little message from the capital. Cen Shen was certainly concerned about his general Feng Changqing, even though he could only implicitly mention him in a generic term. But he refers himself as a consultant of the general. It is clear who he meant by this generic term, general. The letter he asked his friends to take to his family probably also included his inquiry about the general. Cen Shen's depression and frustration were not alleviated even after he was given an important position at the court thanks to the recommendation of Du Fu. Here is a poem he composed in 757 AD when he served at the court as an auditor. Now let me read it in Chinese first. 早知冯氏乱，少小蛮读书。悔不学弯弓，向东射狂狐。偶从见官猎，谬向丹池曲。未能匡吾君，须作一丈夫。复见伤逝路，哀歌凄凉途。功业今已迟，揽尽悲白须。平生报忠义，不敢失威躯。Now, let's look at the first four lines. 早知冯氏乱，少小蛮读书。悔不学弯弓，向东射狂狐。早 means early, 知 means know, 冯 means encounter, 世 means world, 乱 means upheaval, 少小 means young, 蛮 means cheat, 读书 means reading books, but here it means to go to school. 悔 means regret, 不 means not, 学 means learn, 弯 means draw, 弓 means bow, 向 means towards, 东 means east, 射 means shoot, 狂 means arrogant, 狐 means 混, but here it is specifically refers to An Lushan, who was ethnically 混, so we translate it as rebels. So the four lines read, if I knew such upheaval earlier in my life, I would have cheated my way through school. I regret not knowing how to draw a bow, shooting towards the east at the arrogant rebels. 偶从见官猎，谬向丹池曲。未能匡吾君，须作一丈夫。偶 means by chance. 从 something and 猎 means hold a rank. 见官 means Auditor General. 谬 means absurd. 向 means walking towards. Here it means follow the others. 丹 means vermilion. 池 means steps. 曲 means hurry towards. 丹池曲 refers to the courtly rituals. 未 means not. 能 means able. 匡 means provide correct counsel. 吾 means my. 君 means emperor. 虚 means fake. 作 means act as. 虚作 means only have the name of something without much substance. So we translate it as not much of. 一 means one. 丈夫 means husband in modern Chinese. but it means a great man in classic Chinese. So we just translate it as man. So the 4 lines read, by chance, I hold a rank in the Auditor General's office, yet it is absurd to be following the courtly rituals. Not able to provide correct counsel to my emperor, I'm not much of a man. 福建商事路，哀歌凄凉图。功业今已迟，揽尽悲白须。府 means hold. 见 means sword. 伤 means distress. 事 means world. 路 means way. I means sad. 歌 means song. 气 means cry. 良 means good. 图 means strategy. 功业 means military achievement. 今 means now. 已 means already. 迟 means late. 览 means look into. 镜 means mirror. 悲 means sorrowful. 白 means white. 须 means beard. So the 4 lines read, holding a sword, I'm distressed the way the world had become. I could only sing a sad song, crying over my good strategy. I look into mirror and find my white beard sorrowful, as it is too late for any military achievement. 平生报忠义，不敢失威躯。平生 means all my life. 报 means hold. 忠 means loyalty. 义 means righteousness. 不 means not. 敢 means dare. 失 means self-interest. 威屈 means my humble self. So the 2 lines read, all my life, I have held to loyalty and righteousness. I would not dare to stay alive out of mere self-interest. When Cen Shen was lamenting about that he wasted his youth on useless books and did not learn fighting skills, he might be thinking of his beloved general Feng Changqing, who was defeated because he did not have enough skilled soldiers to fight for him. When Cen Shen cried that he was not much of a man, was he regretting that he could not do more to save Feng Changqing? When he sang a sad song and cried over the good strategies that were not adopted by the emperor, was he thinking about how General Feng Changqing was framed and killed, even though he had the best strategies to save the empire? We could only imagine what Cen Shen went through in the few years following the death of Feng Changqing. He was extremely bored with the tedious rituals at the court. The following poem he sent to Du Fu expressed his frustration wasting his life at the court. Now, let me read this poem in Chinese first. 连部驱单壁，分朝献紫薇。小随天葬入，暮惹玉香归。白发悲花落，青云暮鸟飞。圣朝无缺事，自觉见书稀。Now, let's look at the first 4 lines. 连部驱单壁，分朝献紫薇。小随天葬入，暮惹玉香归。连部 means locked in steps. 驱 means hasten up. 单 means vermilion. 壁 means step. 分 means separate. 朝 means department. 线 means limit. 紫薇 refers to Ursae Minora's star that the Chinese astrologists thought were the residence of the celestial emperor. Here it is used to refer the emperor's office. Xiao means dawn. Shui means follow. Tianzhang refers to the emperor's ceremonial guard. Ru means enter the palace. Mu means dusk. Re means stained with. Yuxiang refers to the emperor's fragrance. Gui means return. So the 4 lines read, locked in steps, we hasten to the vermilion steps to the palace. Then we go separate ways from the emperor's office. At dawn, we follow the emperor's ceremonial guard. At dusk, we return home with the emperor's fragrance. 白发悲花落，青云暮鸟飞。圣朝无缺事，自觉见书稀。白 means white. Fa means hair, but here we translate as haired. Bei means sadden. Hua means flower. Luo means fall. Qing means blue. Yun means cloud. Qingyun is a specific term meaning high-rank position. This is because the emperor was often referred as the sun, and the clouds close to the sun symbolize the high-rank position close to the emperor. Mu means envy. Niao means bird. Fei means fly. Sheng means wise. Chao means dynasty. Sheng Chao means the wise reign, and here it is used as an ironic term referring to the corrupted court. So we translate it as our great dynasty. Wu means not. Que means liking. Shi means matters. Zhi means I. Jue means feel. Jianshu refers to the critical report to the emperor. Xi means rare. So the 4 lines read, white-haired, we are saddened by falling flowers, and envy the high flyers, high as blue clouds. Our great dynasty is not lacking in matters of state. I rarely send critical reports to the emperor. On the surface, Cen Shen seems saying that as an auditor, there is not much to audit or rectify. However, we know the whole empire had fallen into chaos. Of course, there were a lot of things that should be audited and rectified. Yet the emperor was only interested in consolidating his own power and killing his rivals for the crown. Cen Shen did not get another chance to go to the frontier until 762 AD, following Prince Li Shi fighting the rebel forces. This was a quite different experience for Cen Shen. He did not compose any poem for this expedition. Li Shi became the 10th emperor of the Tang Empire in 779 AD. But that was 10 years after Cen Shen passed away. In the following few years, Cen Shen was appointed at different locations as a middle-rank official. In 767, Cen Shen was appointed as the governor of Jiazhou in Sichuan province, but was dismissed from the position a year later in 768. By this time, Sichuan was in total chaos. When Cen Shen tried to get out of Sichuan, he was trapped by bandits in Chengdu and died in a travel lodge in 769 at the age of 51. It is heartbreaking even thousands of years later to track the career path of a passionate poet who could have a brilliant political career if he was given half a chance. But that was not to be the case. I feel so sad for him and the 2 great generals. So this is the sad story of Cen Shen, a frustrated scholar official, but a unique and brilliant poet. In my next video, I would like to introduce another frontier poet named Gao Xianzhi, who suffered a similar fate as Cen Shen early in his career, but was lucky enough to have a much happier ending. I would also talk a bit about the life of the great general Gao Xianzhi, for whom Gao Shi worked as a military staff. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, and medical literature. If you like the contents of these videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons. If you would like to read the original text, please contact me. Here's my email address. Otherwise, thanks for viewing my video and I'll see you next time.